Welcome to another I Know Jax. I'm Joe Talentino. It's Movember. First off, I have to apologize because I can only participate in Movember in spirit. Movember is simply mustache in November put together as one word. Many men grow their mustaches and beards this month in support of the fight for men's health issues such as prostate cancer. I partake in Movember in spirit. The reason I'm not participating has less to do with vanity and more to do with the fact, well, I'm on TV. Screw it, it's all vanity. I don't know. All I know is I can never ever grow a beard. It comes out as some sort of patchy growth, and my wife says that the color reminds her of our calico cat. It's got like yellow, red, black, brown, gray, purple, I don't know, all the colors of the rainbow in it. And that won't do on TV. It'll scare off viewers, won't it? My stylist won't have it. My producer is against it. And my wife, well, need I say more? So no Movember for me, but in spirit, yes. November is also Novel Writing Month. This is an online community of people who get together to write 50,000 words in a month. Now, if you always wanted to finish your novel but never did, I strongly suggest that you head over to their website to check it out. It seems like a really cool online community. And I'm not participating in that either, not even in spirit. I talk, I don't write. When you start Speakers Month or something like that, call on me. I'd be all in, but writing, nope, no novel writing for me. Now, as far as holidays are concerned, there's of course Thanksgiving coming up. But first we have Veterans Day on November 11th. So we thought it would be the perfect time to visit the newest brewery in Jacksonville, Veterans United Brewing Company. Today I'm with Ron Gamble of Veterans United Brewery, and we're going to talk a little bit about how you guys got started. How did this whole thing get started, man?
The name is Veterans United. It stands for myself. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I flew S-3 Vikings off of aircraft carriers, and it started when I was a brewer, and I had this passion and pride for brewing, and I said, what else in my life, when I felt the same way? And it was when I was serving.
Cool.
And so that's how the name came up, but it's a bunch of us, probably a total of about 18, who represent most of the services, everything, and as near as Jacksonville, as far as the Air National Guard in Alaska.
Cool.
So that's sort of that was the beginning of the naming of the company and who we are.
Right.
This actually is my 7th startup company that I've done. So prior to brewing, I was in internet software startup.
Starting a business is not new to you, just brewing business.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So the startup world is very familiar with, and got a lot of gray hairs to prove it. So.
I say that I'm a pioneer and I have the arrows in my back to prove it. It's the same sort of thing. So tell me a little bit about some of the beers that you guys have here as sort of your regular beers.
Sure, we've got about 4 year-round beers. One of them is called Raging Blonde. It's more of a hopped-up blonde, so those who really are enjoying the hops but don't want to step up to a pale ale or an IPA, that's a good go-to type beer. Right. Next is our Hop Banshee, which is an American India Pale Ale. And then third is our Scout Dog 44, and that's a German-style amber ale, also known as an alt, based on the beers from northern Germany. And then last is our Buzz and Bee, which is a honey rye wheat made with Florida honey.
That's my favorite so far. Now, I tasted that at the Craft Beer Festival. Okay. That's when I kind of fell in love with you guys a little bit before you even got open, so that was pretty cool. So you guys are now out in what, about 50 different places, you say?
That's right. Yeah, our distributors champion brands, and we started out with 30, and then now we're already up to 50 here in Jacksonville and St. Augustine.
And you're going to be canning soon, right?
We are, yes. Just behind us here is our new canning line. Our cans are in pre-production. They're going to get ready to go to production in about a week or two, and then they should arrive by the end of November and ready for canning in early December.
So just in time for Christmas, so everybody knows what to get their
definitely.
favorite
Yeah,
person for Christmas.
We are aching to get it out the door, and so is our distributor. So they're lining up accounts, and all the accounts have some of the big box accounts have tasted the beers, and they're just asking for it, waiting for it. There are a lot of beers in the marketplace nowadays that are 9, 10, 11%, and that's fine. There's a place for them. Matter of fact, in that tank right behind you, we've got about a 9% Imperial India Pale Ale.
Nice.
But I think many of the breweries will tend to forget about people want to come in, they want 2, 3, 4 pints at a time, and there are some great British style milds, special bitters, session beers, and I think it takes not to lose sight, and it does take a lot of hard work and to produce those beers because they're so light and sometimes imperfections show, and there's some great breweries putting out sessional beers, and people just love them.
Yeah. So is this a way to test market beers? I mean, you kind of put it out there for the audience to see, so to speak, and then see how it goes afterwards?
Oh, definitely. It's a way for us to play around, get feedback. I mean, that's why we have a tap room, and people can come in. They tell us directly whether they like it or not. One thing I did learn as a brewer when I went to brewing school is they really knocked into your head is you brew not necessarily what you want to brew, but you brew what sells.
It kind of helps in staying open and keeping the doors open too, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It certainly does. So.
Well, that's the one thing about, and I talk about this, but craft breweries are local businesses, and a lot of local businesses don't always, follow that deed. It's kind of weird. They don't always think about, I've got to do what they want, not what I want. And I think I see that a lot with restaurants, and you guys being in the food and beverage business is sometimes the same way, right?
Yeah, I would agree to that, and I think craft brewing is a very interesting industry because it allows us to produce beers that the big guys are not producing. On the other side of the coin, though, I think it's a responsibility of craft beers to think about what they're producing and putting out. The challenge there is, let's say the first time you've had a smoked beer and someone way over smoked it.
Right.
Now it's the responsibility of that craft
never
brewery.
want that again.
You're going to never want that again, and that's where I get very passionate about that because I think we need to think about as we're brewing, is this something that could totally turn someone off from a certain type or style of beer forever? So that's just something, personally, this brewery, we think about all the time when we're putting beers out there.
Hey, I'm here with Kris Chislett, the wine guy, and today we're going to talk about Thanksgiving
wines. 2-part miniseries.
Two-part
How's about that?
This sounds awesome, man.
2 for 1
Obviously,
deal.
we got white-ish wines
We do.
here.
So I wanted to start with white, and then we'll next episode we'll do red. But 3 different suggestions. Kind of light, medium, full-bodied white wine.
Gotcha.
Keep everybody happy.
Keep it simple.
Even the kids. We got something a little bit of sweet,
Junior gets a little out of hand. Grab that one, down
absolutely,
one.
absolutely. So, so what I did, I went
I'm
by.
not a doctor.
He's not
but
a
I play
doctor,
one
but
on
he
TV.
knows how to keep the kids calm with Thanksgiving. Just a little bit of wine, yeah. What I did, I went by Riverside Liquors. Okay, so Riverside Liquors.
Love those guys.
My favorite wine store.
Yep.
So I, bit of backwards and forwards, kind of. A little bit of banter with them.
It wasn't a heated debate. It was a discussion.
It was, a one-sided kind of, look, guys, this is what I want. Yeah, so I went, was it Fletcher and Victor, the 2 guys over there. We kind of were talking about,
They know a little bit about wine.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
A lot more than I do.
I wanted some suggestions from them as to what they had, and then we kind of, talking about it. So the first one I have is Elk Cove Riesling. So this is from Oregon.
Not from Germany.
Not from Germany. We try to keep them all American.
Okay, it's all American.
Gotcha. American holiday. So Riesling, a little bit of sweetness to it, but it's actually a drier style of Riesling.
Okay.
So I wanted something to kind of keep the sweet wine drinkers happy, but this is actually, this is definitely on the driest style of, driest side of Riesling. So
not the syrupy sweet one.
No, definitely not, You could blind taste people on this drink Pinot Grigio, Sauvignon Blanc, and they're going to be totally happy with it. So great pairing wine, $19.99 retail on that one as well.
Keeping it reasonable.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep everything reasonable. The last one's a little bit high end, but this the second one, people think see pink, they think white zin. Will this keep the white zin drinkers happy? Absolutely not.
No.
You know, this is again kind of a drier style.
Throwing them a little curveball.
Drier style of rosé made from.
How do they make it?
Pinot Noir is the grape, which is a
red grape.
Red grape, very good, sir.
But it's not a pink grape.
It's not a pink grape. So, red grape, you crush it, white juice comes out.
Yeah.
Leave the skin, contact with the juice, just for
okay.
a little bit of time. Give you, this kind of.
So they don't leave the skin in as long.
Yeah. You want true Pinot Noir, you leave it in the, in contact for longer.
Okay, gotcha.
So a little bit of skin contact on this.
Okay.
$12.99 retail. Pairs, I was thinking about like honey baked ham
nice,
and turkey and those kind of things.
But
so
that's a little bit on the drier side, you say?
definitely on the drier on the side. If people are thinking, white Zinfandel,
right?
Yeah, it's got the colour, but it's not going to have that sweetness, candied kind of strawberry raspberry.
Okay.
Then the last one. So Chardonnay, got to have a Chardonnay.
Got to have.
Right. So Mercelet, big name. From Santa Lucia Highlands, Monterey County, California.
Gotcha. Northern California.
Yeah. So it's actually just right below San Francisco, right below the bay there. $29.99. If you're looking for, you always get those people that want, the big buttery.
I like those.
Exactly. Big buttery Chardonnay. If you're thinking,
little oak flavor too.
Yeah, a little bit of oak, not terribly overpowering.
Okay.
If you think, walnuts and pecans, even pecan pie.
Pecan,
whatever.
We're in South
pecan
Georgia.
Or pecan?
It depends on who you ask.
Really?
Yeah.
Even down here?
Even down here.
Pecan, I don't know.
I say pecan because I'm in North Georgia. The South Georgia ones call them pecans.
Pecans.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Crazy.
There's like 5 A's in it.
Exactly.
All right. Cool. All right. So yes, good story. Walnuts, pecans, apples, pears, stuffing. Sure, absolutely. Mercelet Chardonnay. That's a great one to finish up with. Definitely the fuller-bodied one of the bunch. So.
All right, that sounds great for our whites. We'll see you guys again, and we'll talk all about great red ones for Thanksgiving. Next week, it's Veterans Day, and we found a couple of celebrations for you. On Monday, November 10th, the day before Veterans Day, there's a celebration at Memorial Park. It's a salute to our veterans, sunset concert and picnic in the park in honor of Veterans Day. The Navy Band Southeast performs, so bring your picnic and lawn chairs. There's water, beer, and wine for purchase. This is a free event at Metropolitan Park from 6 to 8 p.m. Then on Tuesday, there's the Veterans Day Parade featuring more than 4,000 participants, including Grand Marshals, senior military officials, active duty and retired military units, veterans groups, high school marching bands, decorative floats, giant balloons, and more. The parade route will begin at Everbank Field and continue down Bay Street and will end at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Jacksonville's Veterans Day Parade takes place on November 11th, starting promptly at 11:01 a.m. Every year about this time, the North Atlantic right whale comes to our coast. At present, it's one of the most endangered whales in the world. The whales come to our area for calving season, and to celebrate that, we have an annual Right Whale Festival in Jacksonville Beach. The Right Whale Festival takes place at the Seawalk Pavilion on November 15th. Now, the same day, there's an Arts and Craft Festival at St. Augustine Pier. Now, this might be a good idea to get an early start for your Christmas shopping this year and find a unique gift. The Arts and Craft Festival takes place at St. Augustine Pier on November 15th. I also wanted to give a shout out to my friends up in Camden County, Georgia. On November 15th, there's the Three Rivers Ride. Just drive north on I-95 across the Georgia border into Camden County. For more ideas about fun things to do in November, refer to my post with the same name on our website at iknowjax.com. Since Veterans Day is coming up, I thought it would be appropriate to show you this story about the famous Memphis Belle. The Flying Fortress, the B-17, has become an icon of American power. The crew members who flew the bombers during World War II were real heroes.
They were flying these airplanes over enemy territory for 8-10 hour missions in very hazardous conditions, everything from the freezing weather to the flak and fighters. And they were just brave guys. And then this Memphis Belle airplane kind of highlights the fact that not many people ever made it 25 missions. And this was one of the first airplanes, or this is a replica of the Memphis Belle that was one of the first to make 25 missions. The way they planned a mission was they would decide how far they needed to go, to what city they were going to. They'd figure out how much fuel they had to carry for that, and then they would figure how many bombs they could carry and still have enough fuel to get back and forth. Then they would figure out how many airplanes they needed to take out there to deliver the amount of tonnage of bombs they wanted to drop.
There's not much space inside the Flying Fortress for the crew, which usually consisted of 10 to 13 people.
The nose of the airplane is what housed the Norden bomb sight, and actually just very few airplanes would contain that Norden bomb sight. Just the lead airplanes on a bombing run would have that, and the other airplanes would drop their bombs. They called them toggeliers on the lead airplanes dropping of their bombs. And then just aft of him, you'll notice on some airplanes they have the Astrodome there, but that was where the navigator would sit, and it was his job to plot their course and get them very close to where they needed to be. Then the bombardier would take over and do the bombing run over where they were trying to hit. And then now you go upstairs into the cockpit, and that's where the pilot, co-pilot, and they had a top turret operator. He was also called the engineer. So you had 2 guys in the nose and 3 guys in the cockpit area. So the engineer was a kind of a mechanic, knew the airplane very well, but he would operate the top guns. And then as you go back, you went through the bomb bay. Then the radio room was just after that. The one radio operator sat there. And then farther back, you had the 2 waist gunners, the ball turret guy. But that was the one place I don't think anybody wanted to be. But it turned out, after the war, they tallied it up, and that was really the safest place people were, because you were in a small, confined area, and you had a lot of bulletproof armor around you. So as unpopular as it was to be picked as a ball turret guy, it turned out to be the safest. And then we said the waist gunners, and then in the very back you had the tail gunner, and that position was determined to be the most dangerous. Once you lost your tail gunner, you were probably going down.
You can almost imagine what it must have been like. The smell of the fuel, the noise of the gunfire, not really knowing what's going on around you.
One of the pilot sayings are there's so many hours of boredom and then moments of stark terror, and I'm sure that's a lot of what these veterans were up against there, is that there was long flights to get where you were, and all of a sudden it'd be just terribly exciting and scared of what they were running into.
That's it for this week's episode of I Know Jax. I'll be back next week with another episode, and until then, I'll see you on the internet.